Sup shitters, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out a few tracks off an album from an artist named Francis Onah titled Ogoja City. This album is called Ogoja City. Switching over to here, we have the album here, very dapper looking gentleman here with his nice suit and bow tie. And we've got three tracks here, Aripia, Ogoja City, and Ashkim. Gonna listen to these from start till finish and hear what we think. Let's go. There we go, some shakers. Nice little bass guitar. Oh, some hand drums. Oh, a little bit of organ playing there as well, based on that main musical theme. It's very interesting, eloquent music so far. Lots of energy and charisma to it. Sounds very upbeat. Lots of different instruments, actually. This is definitely it's nice and loud in the headphones, and without pumping or anything like that. Well mastered by the sounds of it. Again, that one main sort of musical concept. Oh, we're changing now, of course. Oh, we got some jazz transitions here. Oh, beautiful. Oh, I understand. Is this an instrumental track? Saxophone! I'm liking how the saxophone is fully taking the place of a vocalist in the mix. Kind of sounds like all these instruments having a conversation, doesn't it? Because occasionally, when you run just an instrumental track like this, you can run the rest of it seeming a little bit of, it can be difficult to understand what the song is meant to be about without being explained, Again, it does sound like he's voicing through his instruments. A little bit of chromaticism there, that's nice, within that modulation. Some lovely extended harmonies there. Because that's the deceptive part about all this. You do have some main central notes, the root notes, and some occasional parts of these chord harmonies, where that's the main flow of that core musical concept. But there's just enough happening for you being able to follow that without being too overwhelming. I'm loving that organ, how subtle that is. There's a nice little bit of extra coloration to this. Gotta say that drum performance is pretty on point. I'm unsure if Francis Onah has, if who he's working with this, whether this is like a big band act or whether it's just him doing most of the instruments. Oh, this is Francis, is it? Wow, coming in like into the song at this point. I dig it. He's an interesting place within the mix. It's he's loud enough that I can hear what he's saying clearly, but there's also a significant and demonstrable dynamic range to this, which is with so many different elements with the mix, it can be kind of risky to have that amount of dynamic range with a vocalist, but he's pulling it off. You know, I get the impression that this is music that you're supposed to dance to. You're supposed to just groove along to at a club or something like that. Like a... Oh. Oh, going real okay with this end bit. So I assume that what he was saying there in that like third section of the song was kind of related to what the song was meant to be about. Like it sounded like it was a celebration, to be honest, like something that people should be sort of like because there was an optimism, a positivity to this track. There was a warmth to it that I was palpable, and it was fantastic to listen to. Really charming, a lot of warmth from the performance. It was great just to hear so many talented people involved in one track, and yeah, I'm very impressed. We got Ogoja City, title track off the album. Again, that dynamic range is really helpful, man. It gives it life. It gives it sense of humanity to it. Very similar tonally to Oripia. Okay, we got that sax voice coming in again. It's really cool to hear Francis Onah letting the rest of the performers have the time to shine on the stage before he comes in with his vocals. Just a sec, just a minute. Yeah, I had the suspicion that he was a saxophonist, so this makes a lot more sense now. I wasn't aware of that beforehand, I don't think. I could be wrong. But that's cool. I had a feeling he was a saxophonist. This would make a lot of sense. Hopefully if Francis Onah is watching this, yeah. Apparently he's doing very well for himself actually, which is great. Again, he comes and goes with his saxophone playing. Again, that vocal melody being substituted for the sax line. There's a bit of cooler response going on between the guitar parts. And melodies being repeated for effect. It's very different in this part, at least, to Oripia. It's a lot more somber and oh, a little twist there. Ooh, I see what we're doing here. Because we're in 3, 4, 6/8 timing here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1. So it's 6/4, is it? Okay. the fact that that drummer is just able to go wherever they want to and just feel out the song in their own way and put those snares on something that's not even the offbeat is just great. It's just so freeform, and I adore it. It sticks to the time signature that's instantiated at the beginning, don't get me wrong, but there's just a lot of freedom on behalf of some of these instrumentalists to really go wild. It's really cool. And then you have that beat or two cut out of that part for that drum fill. Interesting. And it catches you by surprise. Even if you've heard it before, you know, like with it in the early part of the song. Again, a little more development than that legato playing of that saxophone playing there. Exploring the triads involved with the harmonies, the relevant scales. Again, even within these new phrases being put forward, we're modulating between the different starting notes, but keeping the same melodic sequence or similar one. It's so flawless. There's so much dynamic range to the saxophone playing as well, and it's been mixed really well because you can hear everything nice and clearly, even when he goes quiet. There's an attitude to it as well. And back to the chorus theme. Go, go, go. Taking it back a little bit, lowering those energy levels. Smart move. You don't want to just keep going hard the whole time, man. You gotta give and take. It's nice to have this guitarist have the time to shine. Harmonizing there with the sax. Or was it a unison? It might have been a unison. Nice flamzo on the snare drums. Again, that groove has kept going the whole time, regardless of the change with the other instruments. Almost seems like there's a cooler response between that one main sax melody and the rest of the double-tracked saxes and the end part, or the tail. Well done. Well done, Francis. Well done. Again, that dynamic range is so important in a song like this. You know, if you have even one of these instruments overly compressed, it's just going to seem really artificial and harsh. And you can't afford to have a harsh tonality to this music. I mean, obviously Francis can do what he wants. Don't get me wrong. It's just Ashkim. It's just a few there's a lot of smoothness. There's a lot of smoothness to these two tracks, regardless of any of the various harmonies that might have had any sort of like seconds or whatever in their intervals. But what is this? That cymbal work was pretty dope, dude. Hi-hats. Following that bass line there. I'm genuinely interested to hear what comes next. Yeah, there we go. That's a lovely coloration there. Those accented notes, they hit you, man. They hit you, but it's good. Again. I wonder what words are being said. You know? Okay, this is a little bit more upbeat, like a rippier. Ogoja City just sounded like it was asking questions or just describing it in a way that I'm not sure whether it was favorable or not. It could have been both. Again, like, and you can get away with that symbol work as long as you're using those ghost notes. If you don't use ghost notes and you just that's the finesse that is required to get away with this kind of stuff in music. There's a sense of playfulness to that guitar line. Hang on, I just want to double check something real quick. Because apparently he's also a singer, but something I kind of admire about Francis is that he's not, because of the fewer parts where there are any vocals at all. It's more about the atmosphere and the environment than the story, if that makes sense. I know that music can still tell a story without any vocals, but it sounds like a group of really experienced musicians have come together to help Francis make this happen. Because a lot of these different parts on the various instruments, like the guitar and drums, are not easy to play. They're quite complicated. And it's also to the credit of Francis that he knows how to get these chord transitions to work, because they're not simple ones. Like, honestly, like, I think this kind of reminds me about how much I still need to learn about music, because I know for certain that from what I've listened to that Francis is very, very knowledgeable about this kind of thing, and it makes me want to go and learn a lot more. The bar of music, you know, producing and releasing music nowadays is just so high. You've got to be able to write music like this in order to find any success. You know, don't let people fool you. Oh, he has his own name on his suit. That's super cool, man. These little staccato bits are kind of fun, aren't they? They add a little bit of charisma to the mix. Very peppy sounding. Yeah, and it takes a lot of practice to be able to do that on the saxophone. Saxophones are not the easiest instruments to play, in case you were not aware. Especially playing it like how Francis did in like Ogoja City and Aripia, and even across most of the tracks here. Not letting it resolve. Sort of a sense of cheeriness to this. Wow, man. That was incredible. You know, that was incredible. That was an incredible 3 tracks that we've listened to today off of the Ogoja City album by Francis Onah. Like, I think it's very clear that these were performed exactly the way they were meant to be performed. I'm sure listening to this that Francis had a very, very clear vision of what he wanted to accomplish with this album. And it's shown by 2 things that may seem contradictory. One is that I think definitively that a lot of these musicians were allowed, you know, like the guitarists and drummers and all that, they were given like a chord chart probably, and they would have been given sort of like kind of cursory kind of, this is the time signature, you know. But I think they were also provided a lot of a lot of freedom to be able to do what they wanted in terms of their own musicianship, like with the fills and stuff like that, as long as they kind of behaved well with the main sort of theme of the song, which is the second point where I sort of gather that based on how these songs were structured, and no, they weren't through composed by any means. They were definitely had like an ABC kind of structure to them. It wasn't explicitly spelled out and spoon fed to you, but I think that's an inherently good thing. It was just charming, man. It was charming to listen to this guy play the music the way that he did. Charming to listen to his creations come to life with some of the best sort of instrumental performances I've heard in quite a while. Like again, the proficiency is on point. The complexity to the harmonies wasn't to a point where it became abrasive. It was just kept interesting. Like there were all these nice chord harmonies and interval choices and melodic modulations and changes, and you had these lovely textures with all the brass instruments and the drums and guitar and bass and the occasional vocal bits like an arpeggio. And again, as I mentioned, while it was nice to hear Francis sing in the first part, and he has a lovely tone of voice, and you can tell that he knows what he's doing on a mic, he trusted his saxophone, and he absolutely made the right decision there. It filled in that place of a vocalist flawlessly, and not specifically uttering words gives the listener the ability to make their own decisions about what they're listening to in a way that is very meaningful. And I have a lot of respect for what Francis has managed to do with Ogoja City because of that. It's his creations in a professionally produced manner, professionally performed by a professional musician. He picked the right people to help him with this, and kudos to him. I really hope he finds success in future. But that was effectively my review of Francis Onah's Ogoja City. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Francis Onah some love via his various social medias, and I'm sure he's on Spotify and SoundCloud and all that. Stay cool and stay safe, and please also remember to support your musicians and artists at this point in time. They need all the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. Catch you in the next review. Spider hands out.